This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 30th day of June in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Member of Parliament for the opposition APNU-AFC coalition, Annette Ferguson, has denied making a Facebook post that is part of a police investigation into an alleged cybercrime. Ms. Ferguson was arrested and questioned by the police this morning after a report was filed against her by a senior officer of the Guyana Defense Force, Colonel Omar Khan. The GDF officer is alleging that Ferguson shared a post about an alleged killing squad, which linked him to the squad. The post, he complained, caused him embarrassment. Ferguson was released on self-bail after being questioned by the police in the presence of her attorney Lyndon Amsterdam. She denied the allegations. The police said the matter is still under investigation. In an interview this afternoon, the opposition member of parliament explained that she was first contacted through her lawyer and asked to visit the CID headquarters for questioning. She said she complied with the request today.
The police, they conducted their investigations. They asked me a few questions, of which I responded. They showed me a post. They asked whether I have this post on my Facebook account. I said no. They asked to see the phone. I showed them the phone. The last set of posts made on the 15th of June 2021. They did not see the actual article that they shared with me concerning, whatever with Mr. Khan. They took copies of my last set of postings for June the 15th, and they released me on my own recognizance, stating that the matter is being investigated further.
Ms. Ferguson said her arrest and questioning are clearly political and politically motivated. She explained that the police examined her phone and her Facebook account and could not find the post that was allegedly shared.
For me, I see this as one, harassment, victimization, and most importantly, political harassment. Because, I am doing my political activism, and I try not to get into the way of people. My whole focus is to represent those who I have been placed to represent in the National Assembly. And if we ask questions in the National Assembly and we don't, by right, we owe it to the people to let them know exactly what was actually discussed in the National Assembly. So I see this whole action by the Guyana Police Force is one of political victimization.
The opposition member of parliament, who recently won a defamation suit against Vice President Barra Jagdeo, believes that the government is using the cybercrime legislation to go after its critics. Her attorney Lyndon Amsterdam told News Source that the arrest and questioning of the opposition MP appears to be an ongoing cycle in the country.
Ms. Ferguson is a politician, and in these parts, when you're a politician in opposition, you get treated a certain way by the police, and when you go into government, you get treated another way. So I see it in that context. It's a cycle. I don't think if Ms. Ferguson was a minister still, there would have been any report, much less an arrest. But she's now in opposition, so this is what seems to happen to opposition politicians in Guyana.
And in a statement this afternoon, opposition leader Joe Harmon condemned the arrest of the member of parliament. He accused the government of using the police force to persecute its political opponents while disregarding the law. The opposition leader said all right-thinking Guyanese, local and international human rights bodies and civil society groups should condemn what he considers dictatorial and authoritarian acts of political persecution by the incumbent administration. More news coming up in just a moment.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together, we rise.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Preparing for your NGSA exams is always a challenge. The Guyana Learning Channel is here to help. You can go to YouTube using your browser or your mobile device, then search for the Guyana Learning Channel in the search bar. We're live streaming our NGSA booster videos all day and all night. If you want to study a specific subject or topic, you can go to our NGSA booster playlist. You can look at a specific subject, such as mathematics, and then look for a specific topic. Here, you can follow along with the lesson to prepare for your examination. Remember kids, study hard, and best of luck in your exams.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL.
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
GWI introduces CAP, their customer assistance promotion that offers massive discounts. For a limited time, get 50% off all reconnection fees and another 50% off your entire bill. If your service was removed or you've reconnected on your own, GWI is offering yet another 50% discount off all tampering and replacement fees. Wallet-friendly payment plans are also available. So tap into GWI's customer assistance promotion by visiting any GWI office and avoid them taking legal action. CAP only applies to customers whose services were disconnected or removed prior to 2021. For more information, call 227-8701 or WhatsApp 620-1667. Water is life. Save it.
Sonia, you think people easy? People just really want to do their own thing. Look across the road how we building the house low. The building code say you're supposed to be 2 feet off the ground.
And when the place flood, them just be the first to complain.
But you know sometimes we that just contribute to the flooding with we behavior.
You know, we just throw things in the drains and canals. We don't keep the gutters clean and dispose of garbage properly. By the way, you got an emergency kit?
Yeah, Sonia, I got me own and it got drinking water, army medicines, and first aid things like band-aids, iodine, bandages.
And me own got in toothpaste, a change of underwear and clothing, toilet paper and soap.
Guyana, our country, our responsibility.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sal Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Let GBTI make your dreams of owning a home a reality. Buy or build your home with us. Let us help you to completely outfit your home and make it move-in ready. Need to purchase land? We finance that too. Benefit from our 10% down payment and interest rates as low as 4.25%. Calculated on the reducing balance with up to 30 years to repay. Switch your mortgage to us and learn about benefiting from the equity in your home. Invest wisely. Apply online or call your branch to schedule an appointment. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Attorney Nigel Hughes, who's representing Gladstone Henry in the Harris Singh murder case, has declared that the police force has already set the stage for a miscarriage of justice with a charge against Henry. Henry, who is the brother of one of the Henry cousins murdered last year in the Berbice area, was charged along with 3 other men yesterday for the murder of Harris Singh, who was found murdered in the aftermath of the Henry boys' killing. In an interview with News Source, Attorney Hughes said while his client provided a full alibi on the day of Harris Singh's murder, that alibi and the statements from 10 witnesses were ignored by the police. The attorney explained that after a wanted bulletin was issued for Gladstone Henry, he accompanied him to CID, where he was questioned about his whereabouts on the day that Harris Singh was murdered.
10 alibi witnesses, some from the quarantine, from Berbice, all of them attended our office and gave statements to us about where Mr. Henry was, Gladstone Henry was, on the 9th when Harris Singh was murdered. And all of them said that the families had gathered at his home, which is the home of Gladstone and Patricia Henry. They were watching the post-mortem on the phone because Mr. Henry was actually at the Penitentiary where the post-mortem was being conducted, and he was video recording it.
Attorney Hughes said the information related to the alibi was relayed to the investigating officers, but they repeatedly said they received no word from their seniors to act on the information.
Purely by accident, at about 2:33 in the afternoon, we got wind that the police had traveled to Berbice to file charges against these 4 men while they were in custody in Georgetown, behind the backs of their lawyers, behind the backs of the men, behind the backs of their family members, all of whom were around waiting to find out what had happened.
During the hearing yesterday, Mr. Hughes said he informed the magistrate that he believes that there has been a serious risk of a miscarriage of justice.
None of those witnesses, as far as I'm aware, not one of the 10 witnesses has been contacted by the police to even investigate what they have said in relation to the whereabouts of Mr. Henry on the 9th, which is the morning of the 9th when Mr. Harris Singh was murdered.
The attorney maintains that no proper investigation was conducted into the alibi received during the probe. Guyana has received another batch of the Chinese vaccine Sinopharm. It arrived late last night. Another shipment of the vaccine is expected this weekend, and when that shipment arrives, it will complete the 100,000 doses that were purchased by the government.
So, as you would know that during the month we spoke about the government of Guyana purchasing 100,000 doses. So the majority of those doses came in last night, and we would now do the count to see exactly how many we have received. And the rest of the shipment is going to be here by Saturday. So with that final shipment on Saturday, we should have all 100,000 in Guyana.
Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, he said it is hoped that persons will come out and get the vaccine given that a second doses will readily be available.
This would allow us now to immunize approximately 50,000 people, both first and second dose. And as you know, the Sinopharm vaccine, what you give as your first dose, you also give that as the second dose. So we'll be keeping 50,000 in storage. We'll be distributing 50,000 starting from today Those vaccines that we have received would be distributed to the different regions. And again, we are hoping that people come forward and get their vaccine because we'll have your second dose waiting and ready for you.
The Sinopharm vaccine, which is also being used by Trinidad and Tobago, is about 70% effective against COVID-19. It prevents infections, hospitalizations, and death once both doses have been administered.
With the Sinopharm, we have been using a 4 weeks interval. We'll continue to do so, and the efficacy is quite good. So we expect that people would come out and get their Sinopharm vaccines.
Mr. Anthony said so far 233,134 persons have received a first dose of one of the coronavirus vaccines, accounting for 47.9% of the country's adult population. Just over 108,000 persons have received both doses. That accounts for 22.3% of the population. The government is pushing for more than 80% of the population to be fully vaccinated. The World Bank has approved an additional $6 million in financing to support affordable and equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines and ensure effective vaccine deployment in Guyana through the Guyana COVID-19 Emergency Response Project. The project will also support general preparedness, resilience, and overall health system strengthening. In a statement, the bank said an efficient and equitable rollout of COVID-19 vaccines will be critical to save lives and restore economic activities in Guyana. In the release, the World Bank also said the pandemic has had socio-economic impacts, including job losses, which disproportionately affect women. The additional financing, the World Bank said, will fund the acquisition of COVID-19 vaccines and help the government of Guyana to strengthen health system functions that are necessary for immunization, such as vaccine awareness communication, human resources, information systems, and waste management. The additional financing to this project also aims to increase overall system preparedness to tackle future emergencies. The original project was approved in November of last year to support Guyana's pandemic response and strengthen the country's healthcare system. $5 million of the additional financing approved today comes from the International Development Association. Guyana receives interest-free financing from IDA with a maturity of 40 years, including a grace period of 10 years. An additional $1 million is a grant from the Health Emergency Preparedness and Response Multi-Donor Trust Fund. First Lady Arya Ali has launched her Adopt an Orphanage initiative, which saw 8 orphanages being adopted yesterday. A release from her office said the initiative was birthed some months ago during a casual conversation that she was having with Guyanese American international artist St. John.
It was just a few months ago that I was having lunch with St. John and the topic of foster homes and orphanages surfaced. Many ideas and opinions we shared during our discussion, some of which overlapped. If it was one thing that we all agreed on, it was that orphanages in Guyana require considerable investments to improve the children in its care with a quality life.
The First Lady said through a memorandum of understanding, several businesses have committed to providing financial support to the orphanages to cover their monthly overhead expenses.
Businesses would play a meaningful role in supporting these orphanages and helping them to alleviate some of the financial burdens which pose challenges in the provision of quality services, while those same businesses would be able to fulfill their corporate social responsibility. A win-win, if you ask me. Today, we have 7 businesses and 2 individuals that will commit to providing financial support to 8 orphanages for a period of 6 to 12 months. That financial support will be to cover monthly overhead expenses, which include but is not limited to utilities and repairs and maintenance. This will be done with oversight from the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security.
Some of the new sponsors for the orphanages include the Guyana Shore Base Incorporated, the Marara Bank Limited, Atlantic Ventures, Innovations America, Impressions Branding, JS Guyana Inc., the Oasis Cafe, and Taslim Baksh. Let's tell you now that Acting Chief Justice Ferguson George has issued a permanent injunction blocking the government's holding company NISIL or anyone acting on its behalf from enforcing the notices that were served on several persons and companies leasing NISIL-owned lands and properties to move. The injunction formed part of a ruling handed down by Justice George yesterday, in which she found that several leases done by NISIL under the former government were properly done and legal, and therefore those lease agreements could not be revoked by NISIL. Just after the government change last year, the new government dispatched several letters to force a number of companies and individuals to surrender the lands and properties that were leased to them from NISIL, on the grounds that NISIL wanted the properties and lands for its own use. The Pacific administration was contending that the leases were illegal and improper. But in her ruling yesterday, the Chief Justice found that there was nothing illegal about the leases. The court action was filed by a number of companies and later joined by others who saw the court's protection from being evicted from the leased lands and properties. NISIL did not want the court to hear the case, arguing that the court lacked jurisdiction to hear the matter. The Chief Justice disagreed and heard the matter, declaring in her ruling that NISIL has not provided any factual circumstance that would allow the termination of the lease agreements. While Justice George said there could be arbitration between the parties on issues related to the lease agreements, she noted that NISIL would have to present other grounds than those presented to the court for any termination of the agreements to even be considered. The lands at issue are estate lands at will and Enmore. The lifeless body of a 53-year-old taxi driver was found at the side of a roadway in the Prattville Ogle community this morning. He has been identified as Belfield Housing Scheme resident Kenrick Trim. The man was last seen alive at around 7:30 this morning when he left his home to begin his taxi duties. His body was discovered 90 minutes later. A Toyota motor car was discovered a short distance away from the body. The police said the man was taken to the Georgetown Hospital where doctors pronounced him dead. A post-mortem examination is to be performed on the body. The police report on the incident did not indicate whether there were any marks of violence on the body. The man's son said when he left home this morning, he was wearing a gold chain and a gold ring. The two pieces of jewelry were not found.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
At Sash Financial, we create strategies for strengthening business and personal finances while helping our clients to build sustainable wealth. Our financial and business consultancy services are uniquely tailored to ensure every client receives quality packages and optimal results. Our financial services include financial reporting and analysis, financial status assessment, internal audits, bookkeeping and records management, financial planning advice, tax returns. Our business advisory services are related to business plans, business startups, operational improvement, business management, document preparation, procedures development, efficient marketing. Call or WhatsApp us today for your free consultation on telephone number 592-665-6045. Sash Financial, strengthening businesses, building wealth.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together we rise.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyana's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive!
My name is Dr. Karen Cummings, a public health specialist and former minister within the Ministry of Public Health. I have taken my Sputnik V vaccine today. It was a very simple process. I encourage you to come and take your vaccine very soon so that we can contain this virus and have herd immunity in Guyana.
Across the region tonight, despite the desperate need for COVID-19 vaccines, Brazil is suspending a deal to purchase 20 million doses of the Indian-made Covaxin vaccines, the Ministry of Health there has announced. The decision came after questions were raised about the pricing increase. The ministry said the decision was made on the recommendation of the Comptroller General of Brazil. The unfulfilled contract, worth over $300 million, had created trouble for President Jair Bolsonaro after a parliamentary inquiry committee opened an investigation into the deal with the Indian firm Bharat Biotech, which developed the vaccine. CPI members say the agreed price in the contract was much higher than initially quoted, a difference of 1,000%, according to the body. Emails between Bharat Biotech and the ministry submitted to CPI showed an initial quoted price of $1.34 per dose, which later rose to $15 per dose in the negotiated contract, according to a statement. In a testimony to the CPI last week, Congressman Luis Miranda, a former ally of Bolsonaro, and his brother, a Ministry of Health employee, said they warned the president of irregularities in the contract, but he did not do anything to resolve the issue. Venezuela will allow a coalition of major opposition political parties to field candidates in upcoming elections, the head of the Electoral Council said yesterday, as the opposition and government prepare to enter into a negotiation process. In 2018, Venezuela's Supreme Court ruled that a Democratic Unity Roundtable, which groups large opposition parties, could not participate in elections, arguing candidates could not be members of both the MUD and the individual political parties that form it. The lifting of the ban by the National Electoral Council comes after several actions by President Nicolas Maduro, seen by some diplomats and analysts as olive branches to the opposition and local elections in November in the midst of a years-long political crisis. Opposition leader Juan Guaido has not said whether or not he believes opposition candidates should take part in the upcoming vote, after the mainstream opposition boycotted presidential and parliamentary elections in 2018 and 2020. And finally tonight, international news. EU citizens living in the UK had until the end of today to apply to stay or lose their rights under the post-Brexit rules introduced by the British government. More than 5.6 million applications have been received, but around 400,000 cases are still waiting to be processed. Ministers say anyone who applies on time will have their existing rights protected while their case is heard. Labour says many vulnerable people risk losing access to public services and the deadline should be extended. Under the terms of Britain's departure from the EU, EU citizens and their families living and working in the UK no longer have an automatic right to do so, as freedom of movement has come to an end. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and wishing you a safe night.